Alright, welcome to my first NPL Miners tryout match. This is against RubyMarrow with the Cleveland Bros. And this is my first match with this team. I'm very excited because I liked my draft a lot. And notably, his team has a Tapu Lele, which is the biggest threat possible. So I'll have to play around that really well, and it's gonna be a nightmare because it breaks a lot of my team very effectively. So going through my team, I have a FizzDef Venusaur. I should be able to deal with Scarfed Manitan decently well. I can hit that with a Sludge Bomb. I can deal with Garchomp if he's not SD. I can Toxic and Leech Seed the Porygon 2, and he can't do a KO me with anything. I can deal with Mega Manectric very well. He can't do a KO me with anything, but I am OHKO'd by Tapu Lele, so that's a bit of an annoyance. Next one I have is Mixed Tapu Koko. This should be able to deal with most Porygon 2 sets because after taking rocks, he'll be pretty low. He'll be either FizzDef or Spadef, and I can hit him with a Volt Switch or Thunderbolt if he's FizzDef, and I can hit him with a Wild Charge if he's FizzDef. I also have Quick Attack. Ruby also had an Alakazam that could have come, so I could Quick Attack that. I wasn't speed creeping it because I wanted to be, I believe I am Naughty Nature. So I wanted to be naughty and just be able to take that out with a Quick Attack if need be. I predicted to speed creep my Lycanroc by a point, so I speed crept my own Lycanroc by 3 points to hopefully outspeed that, but he didn't end up bringing Alakazam anyway, so it didn't matter. My next mon is a mixed defensive Celesteela, and that should be able to take 2 modest Scarf Thunderbolts from Tapu Lele, and OHKO back with a Heavy Slam. It's my main Tapu Lele switch in. It also deals with Garchomp and Porygon 2 decently well. Next mon is a Calm Mind specially defensive Slowbro at +1. I am not 2 KO'd by Mega Manectric's Thunderbolt, which is very important, and he pretty much loses if I get to +1 because unless he has Toxic on anything or Whirlwind Scarm, which spoilers, he does not. And my 5th mon is a offensive Hydreigon with Dragonium Z. I can drop Devastating Drakes and then a Draco Meteor. Should be able to punch holes through his team pretty well. Porygon 2 still isn't 2 KO'd by Devastating Drake plus Draco, unfortunately. But otherwise, I should be able to do decent damage, especially I can take advantage of Scarm. I can switch in on Scarm and just click Dark Pulse or Devastating Drake on anything that wants to switch in. And the last mon is a fast 252 Jolly Gliscor. And what that will be able to do is outspeed or speed tie most non-Scarf Leles. Hit that pretty hard with an Earthquake. I believe I can take a Timid HP Ice from a Mega Manectric. I can take an Ice Beam from Porygon 2. And I pretty much counter most Garchomps. If he's like Life Orb and SD, that would be really annoying. But I also have Rocks, and I can take a hit from Darmanitan and kill with Earthquake. So my team's, I can't switch into all of his threats unfortunately, but I really hope that Calm Mind Slowbro can come through because it's very effective against his team, so we'll see how that goes. So I lead off with Hydreigon, just trying to get a big hit on someone. I was hoping he'd lead Scarm so I could just, nuke anything that I wanted to switch in, but he did lead Mega Manectric, which is almost as good because I can take any hit from this and OHKO back with Devastating Drake. So he just switches out into Porygon 2 as I just go for a Dark Pulse, and it doesn't do anything. So I can tell he has max HP. I don't know about his defensive yet. He's either FizzDef or offensive. So I taunt him. I don't want him Toxicking me. I don't want him recovering, as he just goes for an Ice Beam, and from that damage I can tell he's offensive, and that was a high roll. So I just roost up, and that's a lower roll, so now I'm free to switch out. I go into Slowbro, and he does freeze me with this Ice Beam, so that forces me to click Scald, which I do, and luckily he just goes for a Thunderbolt, which does absolutely nothing, and I Scald, and I'm able to get a free recover because Thunderbolt isn't doing anything to me. And luckily for me, he's just recovering. So that means I can just start setting up on this. I can tell it doesn't have Toxic already because it would have already clicked it. And I get 2 Calm Minds by the time he switches into Manectric. So that's really good for me since Thunderbolt and Volt Switch will be doing absolutely nothing. I can just recover. Which is what I do. He just Volt Switches out and I get a free Slack Off. And I'm at full. He goes into Scarm hoping to scare me out by clicking Whirlwind, but I have no reason to switch out, so he just taunts me and I get a Scald Off, do 75. And he sets up rocks and he's dead. So now it's looking very scary for him because he has nothing that can 2 KO this. I can just spam Slack Off and Scald every once in a while, and it's really hard for him to win. So he goes into Mega Manectric. His Thunderbolt isn't doing anything, as you can see, as I go for Psychic and do 93%. My taunt ends, so I can now click Slack Off. But he gets the paralysis, and what that means is unless I get very lucky, I will not be able to Slack Off on anything reliably. So if he gets lucky, he'll just be able to, 3 KO me with anything he is able to do it with. And so he stays in, goes for Thunderbolt, sacks his Mega Manectric, and then he goes into Darmanitan, clicks U-turn, doesn't do that much, and I go for Slack Off here, hoping that I don't get paralyzed and I can just Slack Off again from there. Unfortunately, I do get paralyzed and Porygon will be able to take me out with a Thunderbolt. I want to preserve this Slowbro though as sack fodder, as I can just switch into a Thunderbolt pretty easily with anything else. So I switch out into Venusaur, taking the Thunderbolt really well, and he gets another paralysis. Oh my god. So now this thing can't recover up successfully on anything either. That's very annoying for me. He just goes for a Psyshock, it does nothing, and I Toxic him, which is very important, but at this point in the match, most of his things just set up on anything, and I would just get paralyzed. So he goes into Tapu Lele, I just switch out to Celesteela because it's my dedicated switch-in, and he predicts that very well and goes into Darmanitan. So now he gets a free Flare Blitz on anything. Hydreigon's at 50, so it can't live. Slowbro is very low, so it can't live. And Gliscor gets 2 KO'd by the Scarf set and nearly OHKO'd by the Banded set. So he just goes for a Flare Blitz here and takes me out with a crit. I mean, I probably would have lived without the crit, but it didn't matter. And I just go into Gliscor to revenge this. I can take a Flare Blitz and kill him with Earthquake, as he just goes into Porygon 2, and Earthquake does nothing, but, eventually I will be able to stall out this Porygon 2. He just go into Celesteela. Ice Beam doesn't really do that much. I can just get off a Leech Seed on anything. But I double predicting Darmanitan into Hydreigon, which doesn't really matter because he turns out to be Scarf, so he can just take me out with a U-turn. That's unfortunate for me. So he goes back into Tapu Lele. I go into Celesteela, hoping that he's Scarf and I can take Thunderbolt well. But he turns out to be Life Orb, and Thunderbolt takes me out. So now I pretty much lose to this Tapu Lele because as long as he plays around Tapu Koko well, I can't beat it. Like every time either Gliscor or Venusaur are in and he gets a free switch to something, he just gets a kill with Tapu Lele's Psychic. So all he needs to do to clean up this match is click Psychic 3 times, unfortunately. So I go into Tapu Koko to revenge this, change the terrain to Electric. He switches out to Porygon 2, and I just get a Wild Charge off, and I'm able to kill it there. So, yeah, I just kill him with Volt Switch. I go into Gliscor. I'll be able to take almost anything from this Tapu Lele. But he ends up having HP Ice, which is very annoying, because that means that I don't even take any hit that he wants to dish out, and I now have to predict his Garchomp if he wants to switch that in and preserve this, or so I'd go for Dazzling Gleam if that happened, or basically it's a 50-50 on whether he, or I guess a 33-33-33, whether he stays in with Tapu Lele and sacks it, and then cleans up the game with Scarf Darm, whether he goes into Darmanitan, predicting Dazzling Gleam, and cleans up the game there, or if he goes into Garchomp, predicting an electric move, and gets extra differential with a 3-0. So he takes the ladder and he goes into guard chomp, predicting the electric move. If I went for Dazzling Gleam, I should have KO'd him, so I don't really agree with that play. But it's a play he made, and it worked out for him, so what can I say, really? Let's go into Venusaur. As long as I don't get bad Parahex, I should be able to beat this, but he just goes for SDs at Leech Seed, and it's going to be hard to beat him, because now I can't Synthesis Stall reliably. And knowing that, I just go for a Sludge Bomb, try to do as much as possible to this, and my Tapu Koko will be able to take it out with a Dazzling Gleam, but it doesn't really matter at this point, because I just get revenged by Scarfed Arm, and the game is over. So unfortunately, week 1, we get hit with some bad hacks. I mean, no hard feelings towards Ruby for this, wasn't his fault, but it's what he had to go for to win when you had a +2 Slowbro that nothing on your team can 2 a KO. So unfortunately for me, we do start off the tournament with 0-1. I'll need to win the other 2 games in my division to be able to go to bracket play. So hopefully we'll be able to win those, and I'll see you in those videos. Alright, bye.